Cold calling is one of the most challenging aspects of sales, especially if you're not very confident in yourself. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you some of my best tips when it comes to improving your confidence in cold calling so that you can start generating more appointments and building relationship with your dream customers. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here with Sales Legacy, the ultimate online sales masterclass that's gonna show you everything you need to know when it comes to starting and accelerating your sales career. So before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let's get to it. All right, so we are here to learn how to build confidence when it comes to cold calling. And no matter if you have the perfect cold call script, really it all comes down to your mentality, your attitude, and your emotional intelligence. So the first tip I have for you is you want to relax. Now, when I first started cold calling, it was a very exhilarating experience. Now, I remember the first time I started cold calling, my hands were sweaty, my heart was beating really loud, and it's like when you're so nervous and you're not sure what's gonna happen and what to say, well, you stumble on your words and you don't really know what's going on. But not only that, when you start making mistakes, you start tilting and then you start losing confidence and you start thinking, oh, no one's picking up the phone, or oh, nobody likes me, and you start going downhill from there. You lose your motivation, you lose your confidence, next thing you know, you're out of the job. So when you are cold calling, an important thing you have to remember is you gotta relax, right? Keep a cool head on. Just because your heart is beating, as your hands are sweaty, like these things are gonna happen, but you have to learn how to control your emotions. And this is where it really comes down to emotional intelligence. So one thing I do before my cold calls is I like to take a deep breath, it's like a pause before the storm. Visualize how my cold calls are gonna go, how I'm gonna do it, how I'm gonna do it very confidently. And it's kind of just like imagining myself actually doing the thing before I do the thing. It's kind of like you're replaying it in your head over and over. And then when you actually get to the point where you're doing it in real life, well, it becomes a breeze because mentally you've been practicing it so much. So the thing is to really try to let your nerves go, even if your heart is beating uncontrollably or if your hands are sweating. Those feelings are gonna come, but you just gotta let it pass and keep a cool head on and get the job done. Now, the next tip I have for you when it comes to building confidence when it comes to cold calling is mastering your voice. In cold calling, tonality is the name of the game, and it's all about how you sound. It's not so much about the words you actually say, which is important, but I would say a majority of it, maybe 70% of your success comes from your tonality. And to be confident in yourself, you have to know exactly how you sound and know how the sound of your voice affects people's perception of you. Because a lot of times when we are afraid of something, it's really because we are afraid of the unknown. And when the unknown becomes a known, well, there's nothing really to be afraid of. And so if you know that your tonality is great and that, 9 out of 10 people are always going to be positively receptive, well, what do you have to be afraid of? Nothing really, because you already know with high confidence what's going to be happening on that call. And this way, you don't have to worry about, oh, is this person gonna like my voice? Am I speaking too loudly, speaking too softly, too fast, too slow, right? You kind of eliminate all these what ifs and you know exactly what you're doing. So a tip I personally use, and maybe you can take some inspiration from this, is when I'm cold calling, usually there's certain voices that I like to use and I know most of the time it's gonna work. So it's kind of like you are calm and cool, but positive. You kind of put those together. So for example, if I say, hey John, how's it going? This is Patrick from Oracle. Did I catch you at a bad time? And the person will say, no, you didn't catch me at a bad time. What's up, right? So that's like the cool, positive voice that I kind of, experimented with. I tried different ones and that is the one for me that works the best. Obviously, if you got your own style, great. But if you're not really sure where to start, keep a level head, stay positive, and people are usually positively receptive to that. The second tip that I have for you is that when you are speaking over the phone, I personally spend a lot of time, or a lot of energy really, making sure what I'm saying is very clear and concise. You can hear every single word I'm saying very clearly and there's no question on what I'm trying to communicate. I see a lot of people where they kind of mumble their words, right? Where what they're saying is a blur, maybe they're speaking too fast, they're not finishing their train of thought. And when this happens, it's very hard for someone to listen because it's very unclear on the benefit of why they should spend time with you on the phone, especially if it's a cold call. So if you keep cool, positive, and everything you're saying is clear and concise, that increases the odds of somebody actually wanting to pay attention to you and spend time to talk with you over the phone. So by getting those basics down, then you can start working on more advanced techniques. But if you're not even getting those basics, it's gonna be very difficult for people to understand what you're saying over the phone. And even as I'm recording this video right now, I'm really trying to put extra emphasis and energy into making sure all of my words are clear and concise for you guys to watch and hear very easily, right? Do I speak like this all the time, 24/7 in my everyday life? Not exactly. To a certain extent I do, but definitely when I'm on the phone or when I am speaking in front of a camera, it's always like a level above, more clearer, concisier, and you can hear everything I am saying and there's no mistake on, what I'm trying to say, right? Now, the next tip I have for you when it comes to building confidence over the phone is know your sales script inside and out, or your cold calling script, right? Now, when you're doing cold calls, a lot of times you may be encouraged or influenced to follow your script line by line. And you when you do this, it may work, but you sound like a robot. It's like, hey John, what's your budget? When do you want to get this done? And it's just like, okay, like you're asking the right questions and you have a good script, but at the same time, when you go by it like a robot line by line, it's not very fluid and natural. And what if the prospect goes off the script and they're asking you questions that you never prepared for? Can you prepare for that? And a lot of people, they can't do that because they don't know their script inside and out. And you definitely should be able to know your script without having to look at a script eventually, right? In the beginning, maybe you can have it up, but over time, as you start to get more natural at it and you know how to run these sales meetings, well, you actually don't need a script because you know everything is in your head, right? And you can freestyle, you can handle objections, you can handle things that you didn't expect because you know everything inside and out. So personally, how I was able to really master my cold calling script was, number one, when I first started and I wasn't a natural, I just kept running through the sales script in my head or by myself or with my coworkers over and over and over and over like a million times until I memorized the thing, right? Then when you get real sales experience and you start talking to people on the phone, what's gonna happen is that you start less and less relying on your script. And then once you know what the trigger points are, the talking points, how to get people to like you, you already know. It's just so intuitive, right? It's like when you are meeting someone for the first time in person, you don't need a script to, meet someone and get them to like you. You just shake their hand and say, hey, John, how's it going? This is Patrick, right? Sales is the exact same thing. The only difference is that sales, it's more calculated in that there's a certain process you take someone down when it comes to cold calling. But once you understand the process, then it just becomes second nature. Just like how everyday society, there's a process in how you should meet someone. There's a certain culture of what you should do, shake their hand, the questions you can ask, but it's not like anyone taught us a script on how to live life. It's just that we were born or raised in a culture. And once you understand your sales script to that extent, then it becomes really second nature and easy. And now the final tip I have for you to build confidence is to challenge your prospects. Now this one is gonna be more of an advanced technique. So how it works is like this. A lot of you guys who are watching this video are probably selling some kind of product and service that are commodities, right? Like for example, a search engine marketing, SEO agency, right? Facebook ad agency or something like that. Business strategists, right? And it's there are a million other people doing the exact same thing you are with the same credentials. Maybe they even have more credentials than you and even past clients. So how do you actually sell a commodity product or service when everyone's doing the same thing and there's nothing to make you special? And when you realize that, you're selling a commodity, you start to lose confidence because people are gonna say things like, why should I work with you when I could work with this guy? This guy's cheaper, why would I work with you, right? It's there's so many objections that you might get when you're just like everybody else. So how you can build confidence and overcome these objections when it comes to cold calling is you challenge your prospect. So this is something a lot of people respect and it will help you have a better conversation with your prospects. When you challenge your prospect, you're basically saying, okay, you have a current old way of doing it. Here is the new way of doing it. And why would you continue to do it the old way when the new way is just so much better? Now you're challenging the way a business basically runs their business and you're giving them insight. And by challenging someone, it forces them to grow and question why they do things the way they do. And if they realize that the old way that they're doing it or the current way they're doing it is not going to be competitive in the market anymore, well, they got to do the new way and they're going to work with you, right? And so to differentiate yourself, even if the product and service you're selling is just like everybody else, is the value you bring as a salesperson, as a consultative salesperson, by challenging the current ways a customer is doing something. So if they're doing Facebook marketing ads, right, and then they're getting a certain result, well, can you get them a better result? Can you do it for a cheaper price? You know, can you expand their business in a certain way that they never thought about, that, you know, the other agency they're working with has never thought about either? Well, those are gonna be some of the ways in the door that you can go. And what you're doing is you're reframing a way a prospect looks at their business. And you might think like, oh, if you do that, won't they, you know, think it's rude that you're telling them what to do and when it's their business? And the reality is no. People will listen to you if you sound somewhat intelligent, confident in what you're saying, and you actually offer real value and how you can actually help them and your intent is in the right place, then they will actually listen. Because, you know, as a business owner myself, if somebody cold emailed me or they cold called me and they really had some ideas on how to improve my business, I would be definitely willing to listen and have a meeting at the very least. It doesn't mean I'm gonna buy something, but I wanna hear what they say, because maybe what they, you know, their experience they have or what they do or how they helped other people might be able to help me, right? The only way for me to find out is to take the meeting. So it's the same thing with you guys. Even if you're selling a commodity service, find ways to create some unique factors, and that simple way is to challenge the customer's current way of doing things. And when they see that your way is better than their old way, they're more likely to take more meetings with you and answer your cold calls. And with that said, those are my tips on how you can build more confidence when you are cold calling. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you want to take your sales skills to the next level, check out my masterclass, Sales Legacy. Link is in the description. It's gonna be the ultimate sales masterclass from A to Z that will teach you everything you need to know when it comes to generating leads, cold calling, cold email, LinkedIn, getting on the phone with the customer, and actually closing deals. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check the link in the description where we have a free 1-hour training to give you a taste of what Sales Legacy is all about, so you can decide if it's the right fit for you. So with that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I will see you guys in the next one.